side of them rails, we got another one to come starboard. And chuck it off firm. Hello, Master Samuel. Playing through it from the shop?
Oh, it's my dinner hour.
Oh, don't get in the way here, will you?
I met the mate at the shipping office.
Aye, signing on crew. Now, let's have that other crate here and look lively.
He told me to see you.
Now, look, if it's more old yarns about the sea you want to hear, I'm a bit busy, lad.
Did you know you're going to be a seaman short on this voyage?
Come on, get on with it. We're sailing tomorrow, not next Christmas.
Can I sail with you? Have that place on your crew. I want to go to sea.
Oh, I enjoyed that. They just can't brew a cup of tea in the United States of America. I'll have another. So then, after all that, they didn't get married.
Precisely. James is convinced she'll still marry him, but I'm not so sure.
She's still staying up there at the house?
For Charlotte's sake. They've got a housekeeper, but that won't stop tongues from wagging.
You thought he'd had some consideration for her good name. Still, that's James all over, isn't it? Well, and where's Samuel? I thought after 3 months he might have been here to greet me.
Oh, Robert, we weren't to know you'd arrive a day early. The Prince Edward wasn't due to dock until tomorrow.
Doesn't he have his dinner with you?
No, he takes sandwiches down on the quay. The fresh air does him good.
He wants me to be a shopkeeper.
Honest enough trade, don't you think, Captain Baines?
Yes, sir. And seeing as the shop is likely to be the lad someday...
I don't want it. I want to go to sea.
Luke, you've not ever even been in a rowboat.
That's only because my mother was afraid I'd get my feet wet.
So what do you suppose she'd think about this?
I'm sure if you put it to her, sir, you could make her understand.
Me?
Sir, after I've gone.
Mr. O'Needon is sailing to South America himself.
Oh, are you? I didn't know.
So if anyone tells your mother, it'll have to be you.
Does that mean you'll have me then, sir?
If your father consents, I'll think about it.
My father's not here. The Prince Edward's not back till tomorrow night, and if we're sailing in the morning...
We're sailing the day after now. As for the Prince Edward, she docked at noon. Say, father will be at home. Go and talk to him about it.
You know he'd not agree.
And so do you. Now run along, will you?
I thought you'd be on my side at least, Uncle James.
Look, your father will be waiting, and he'll have the harder for your back for playing around down here when you should be on your stool in the office.
Very well. I'll see if Aunt Elizabeth will give me a berth. How would you like that? The Fraser line.
Must say he shows some spirit.
Not enough to show to his father, though.
Well, it's understandable when you think what Mr. Robert hopes from the boy. And he turns out to be more your nephew than his son.
Poor Robert.
Macaulay? What do you mean Macaulay's gone?
Gone back to Australia, I believe. He and Fogarty had a dreadful quarrel.
But what
and the
about all
upshot
that money that I borrowed in order to expand
all
the
bought
store?
up by Fogarty, and that's the man we're in debt to now. Oh, and another thing. Your voting rights in the Unedian line shares.
Yes. I mean, those all go to Fogarty, too.
Oh, no. Somehow James managed to acquire them.
You what? I only go away for 10 weeks and he goes and does a thing like that behind my back? Ah!
Father, I'm sorry I wasn't at the quay to greet you. Did you have a good voyage?
I did.
You're very late, love. Your father's been here for the past hour.
I got delayed.
Ah, well, have you seen the time? It's 1:20. I shall have to get Mr. Pringle to dock you an hour's wages.
Oh, Father.
Well, I can't have it said that you're playing ducks and drakes with the company. I mean, just because you are my son.
Oh, dear, he's lost a button.
And how about this jacket?
Oh, that too? Would you tell me when his buttons were missing?
Do you know why he's going, Letty?
I didn't even know he was till the other day. You know, I'm sure I've seen the button for that jacket somewhere.
Your work basket.
Oh, I don't think it'll be in there.
It's where it should be.
Yes, but somehow things never are where they should be.
I certainly wouldn't expect to find a letter in here.
There you are, you see. Well, at least I can put that in its proper place. Now, just see if that button's upstairs.
I'll tell you this. In another 50 years, the United States of America will be second only to Great Britain in commerce and industry. Do you know what I saw in Philadelphia? I saw a store with 15 different departments and all the money taken by a single clerk by means of an overhead railway.
A railway and a shop.
Well, no, wires running across the ceiling and a little brass container, no bigger than that, so that each shop girl could send the customer's money to the accounts clerk and get the change back again just by pulling a handle. Now, isn't that ingenious? I mean, what do you say to that?
Yes, Father, very interesting.
Yes. Yes, well, I mean, if I could get hold of a store of that size.
But would there be any demand for a store of that size in Liverpool?
But of course, because in America they create demand by advertising. Advertising is the most important part of merchandising. Oh, lad, I wish you'd been there with me.
In America? Yes, I'd love to have been.
Well, then pay some attention to someone who has been there. I mean, you will reap the harvest that I am trying to sow for you. He hasn't said a word all evening.
Well, Robert, you haven't given anybody much of a chance to say anything.
Yes, but I expect him to do more than just sit there like a dummy.
Where's the money to come from?
There you are, you see. Man, a few words he may be, but what he does say makes sense, and that's what you need in business.
Well, there's always the bank. And if not, Mr. Fogarty, well, we'd even try your Uncle James. Hey, why not?
You'd borrow money from James, the man who took our house.
No, not borrowed. I'd persuade James to buy my holdings in the Unedian line.
You tried that.
Well, I will try again.
What do you think, Samuel?
Well, I mean, look at him. It's your inheritance we're discussing, lad.
Please, Robert, it's late. It's time you were in bed, love.
I'm glad you had such a successful trip, Father. I look forward to hearing more about it. Good night.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'll get you some breakfast.
Mrs. Gibson can do that.
Oh, well, it's no trouble.
Luke, why do we have a servant?
I wish I knew. Goodness only knows Charlotte and I couldn't manage.
Well, I'll not have you as a skivvy.
Well, Mrs. Gibson makes me feel so uncomfortable.
Why does she do that?
Well, I'm not a proper governess, you know that. I hate having to keep up a position.
Is that why you wouldn't marry me, because you had a position to keep up?
The injured innocent doesn't suit you, James, and you know perfectly well that's not the reason. Now, you read your paper, and I'll ask Mrs. Gibson to get you some breakfast.
No, you tell her, don't ask her.
Oh, very well. There you are. I've even rung the bell for her. You were at the shipping club last night?
I have a lot of people to see before I go tomorrow.
Will you be out again tonight?
Would you mind if I was?
Charlotte would be sorry.
But not you.
Well, of course I would. If you're going away for goodness knows how long.
Here, Letty. I've been offered some tickets for Tudor's music hall tonight.
Oh, Charlotte will love that.
I'm not taking Charlotte to the music hall.
Well, the Tudors is not Dan Lowry's. You won't be amongst the rabble. Besides, she's a grown woman now.
You're old enough to understand what I feel about you and to know that on my last night...
Whatever you feel about me is not so important as what you feel for her.
Luke, I wanted you to be my wife.
Yes, sir.
What?
Oh, Mrs. Gibson, if it's not too much trouble, would you get the master some breakfast?
Fine, even if it is too much trouble.
Mr. Robert Eden is here. He wants to know if you're at home.
Show him in.
No, wait. Mrs. Gibson, would you give Mr. O'Needin my compliments and say we'll see him in just a minute?
Yes, Miss Gaunt.
James, it's not because I don't love you that I didn't marry you, and I thought I'd made that clear. You say you don't want me here as a skivvy, but if I married you, do you realize that you're going to the other side of the world tomorrow and you haven't even told me why? And you've taken to reading every inch of the Times this week, when before you only used to look at the shipping news. Now, what do you hope to read there?
Perhaps if you were my wife, I'd tell you.
I wonder. I'll marry you when I'm ready, and that's when I've got the power to leave you.
James, if it's not convenient, I'll come back later.
Come in, Robert.
Morning, Letty. I'll not keep him long.
Good morning, Mr. O'Needin. Did you have a fruitful visit to America?
Oh, an experience not to be missed.
Good. Well, I'll leave you two men alone to talk business.
Ah. Oh, James, I've come back with such ideas. That shop, I could make it into the finest store in the north of England.
Well, you're remarkably friendly. Money, is it?
No, I've not come here to borrow a penny.
No.
No. Listen, I know how keen you are to have as much control over your affairs as I am over mine. So, if you can see your way to buying my shares in the Needing line off me, well, we need not depend upon each other anymore.
And I thought you didn't want money.
I said I didn't want to borrow any money.
Well, as I control the voting rights over those shares, I don't see why I should pay out hard cash.
Because I still own the shares themselves. You see. And I know you, James. You'd like to own everything lock, stock and barrel. Well, I'm the same. I mean, we could each go our own way.
Well, I can neither buy nor lend because I haven't got the cash. However, if you'd like to hang on until I come back, might be able to help you then. Don't ask me how. Shan't tell you. Come and join me for some breakfast.
Back to the inn. James. Ah. All the wind did blow. The sea did.
Bill Hoskins. Get that drunken sot below.
That the kindly face and gentle voice of me old friend, Brute George. Oh, God.
Now put him below. And don't let me see him again until he's sober. We sail in 10 minutes.
Came a student fellow from the woods
Well, I hope
of
your Aunt
Maine.
Sarah doesn't get to hear that I took you to a music hall.
Can we go again?
No, you cannot.
While you're away?
Especially not while I'm away.
Charlotte, be a good girl. Run up on deck and see if I've dropped my gloves.
Oh,
would you?
Letty.
Well, it's bad enough your father going to the Argentine without a good pair of gloves going as well.
All right, go and tell Captain Baines I want to get ready to sail. I don't want to miss the tide.
James, I won't have you going away bearing a grudge.
I don't.
If you think I cried off marrying you because I didn't love you, then you're just plain dense. Oh, don't look at us like a wet salty. You hardly laughed at all at that entertainment last night.
Well, you certainly enjoyed yourself.
Oh, you silly man. Don't you realize the feelings I'm trying to hide?
Won't you just look at them?
Why not show Mr. Cleckley? He's the engineer.
He told me to show it to you.
Mr. Dunwoody wants to see you, Daniel.
I know, I'm just coming.
What's this, William?
Some work I've been doing on triple expansion engines.
On what?
Well, Mr. Cleckley thinks perhaps we could develop it.
Well, plenty of people are working in that field. Qualified engineers.
All I need is a small workshop. Now, Fraser's could provide that, surely.
No wonder your last school report was so unsatisfactory if this is how you've been wasting your time.
Wasting my time? My father wouldn't have said that. Well, he was an engineer, wasn't he? This is really his work. I found some notebooks of his. He was looking into triple expansion engines himself years ago, but then there wasn't the steel you need. Look, I know others are developing these principles too,
The work your father did in that
but
line came to nothing. He had his head in the clouds.
you never believed in him, did you? Any more than you believe in me.
Port Baines? But you'll be arrested. We'll both be arrested. That's madness, sir.
In another revolution out there I've been to. Now, I've been studying the Times every day for confirmation.
But we're bound for Montevideo, sir.
And that's where we'll hear if there's any truth in it. If our informant is right, we'll call on Port Baines on the way home.
I might have guessed you'd never take that business lying down.
Confiscation of all my property. An upstart of a colonel. I'll not turn down a chance to get back what's my own.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah?
Sorry to disturb you, sir.
What is it?
We have a stowaway on board.
A stowaway? On my ship?
That's your nephew, sir. Master Samuel O'Needon.
His father has that big shop. What's he doing here? Needed.
Where did they find you? In the bilges?
Yes, sir.
Smells like it. So, when did you come aboard?
Last night, sir.
Told your father?
No, sir.
Not even a note?
No, sir. I was afraid they'd find it before we sailed.
But we've been at sea 12 hours, boy. They'll be sick with worry by now. We can tack up the channel and put him off at Falmouth.
Well, against an east wind, I'm not prolonging this journey for the sake of a stowaway.
Then you'll keep me, sir?
No, you're going aboard the first ship that comes within hailing distance.
Why, sir? I'll work hard, I'll do anything.
Look, if you haven't even got the courage to tell your father, how do you know that you're going to find enough to become a sailor?
I could try, sir. And if you're really going to send me home on the first ship we pass, then let me start learning now in the little time I've got.
Right, then. O'Hara, take him to the bosun, fit him out from the slop chest, and put him to work.
Thank you, sir.
Oh, you won't thank me.
Have you forgotten who the bosun is, sir?
So long as he knocks his nonsense out of him.
Brute George will do more than that.
Look, I want him treated so rough that every time he thinks of the sea, he'll have nightmares. His future's all mapped out, and all. I want him whimpering for Sarah's fireplace.
Robert? Well?
I've been to the police.
The police?
Well, accidents happen. Hasn't been seen all day.
What about William?
William?
Did you ask William?
Well, Elizabeth and Fogarty, yes.
William and Samuel are close friends.
Where do you think you're going? Come here. You're not going round to Elizabeth's now. I've only just left. It's gone midnight.
But if anybody knows where Samuel is, William does.
Look, he would have said, wouldn't he? He would have spoken up. He knows he's missing. There's nothing we can do until the morning.
What can we do then?
White, I said. I want this deck so white it'll strike me blind. Look behind you.
But somebody's walked on it. As soon as I've done one bit, somebody...
Go on, get on with it. Mr. O'Needon will be on deck soon. We don't want him falling about on a dirty, slippy deck, do we? Master O'Needon.
It's pointless whitening a deck.
On your feet. I said on your feet! Pointless. Getting some of the fat off you, so you can do some real work up here. Right now. Jump! 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 Come on, now, jump! Jump! Jump!
Ah, here come two, have you?
Jump! Come on, now, jump! 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 Jump!
How long we been at sea?
Well, it's Tuesday.
Brute George's bosun, eh?
That's right.
What's got into him then? Usually chasing me by now, all the way.
He's got someone else to chase.
Jump! 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 Jump!
I don't know for sure, but I think he's gone to sea. He's been wanting to for months.
Does Aunt Sarah know?
No, of course not. They don't understand Samuel any more than my mother understands me.
Hello, William.
Hello.
Mrs. Gibson said you were here.
Yes, she's been popping in every few seconds. I suppose she thinks I ought to have a chaperone.
I'm your cousin, Charlotte. Is quite proper.
What have you got there, William?
It's my engineering work. I wanted to show it to Charlotte. Well, no one else takes any interest.
William's going to invent an engine that drives steamships faster than anything else.
No, not faster, just more economically. On a single-cylinder engine, most of the steam goes to waste. But if you can use the exhaust to drive another cylinder, and then the outlet steam from that to drive a third, well, you save on coal, and that saves money. Apart from that, there's the extra space to carry cargo.
Did you do all this yourself?
Well, my father started it. I've just brought it up to date. All I need now is a workshop, but Mr. Fogarty won't even look at it.
Mrs. O'Needon has called, ma'am. She wants to know if Master William is here.
Oh,
Sure in.
Aunt Sarah for me.
Letty, Sarah, I'm
Elizabeth said that William was here, and I thought he might know what had happened to Samuel.
Samuel?
He's disappeared, and you didn't even think it worth mentioning.
Oh, Sarah, now calm yourself. Charlotte, go make a cup of tea. There's a good girl.
I'll never see him again. I'm convinced of it.
Yeah, what's this dropped in?
That's Master O'Needin, that is. The owner's nephew.
In the forecastle? He ought to have a cabin. Not in here with the scum.
That swine of a bosun. He just told me to sling my hammock. I haven't got a hammock.
Oh, here you are. Here's one for you. There. Go on, climb on.
How do I...
Oh, you just climb on.
Here, you know what he really ought to have to sleep in, don't you?
Eh?
A backside kick.
Oh, yes.
Well, that's the sailor's name for it, see? I mean, its real name's a double-sided shuttleboard. Now, you nip along to Captain Baines and ask him for a double-sided shuttleboard, nice and polite, like. He'll give you one.
What ship is he on?
Truly, I don't know that.
Couldn't you inquire at the shipping office? I mean, if he has signed on.
But they'd have told Uncle Robert if he tried to sign on.
Where did he sign on, then?
He doesn't want to be a shopkeeper. Business doesn't appeal to him. I can understand. Excuse me, I must go home.
Sarah, I'm sure you'll get news soon.
I suspected for months that he wasn't interested in the business. Tried to keep it from Robert. From myself, even. But some things are as plain as a pikestaff, only Robert won't see them.
Bosun, do you know what a double-sided thingamabob is?
It's a practical joke, isn't it?
What did you hope it was, boy?
Something to sleep in.
Who sent you to us?
That big fella, Hoskins.
Did he say what the seamen call it?
Backside kick.
Or one of them? Why didn't you say? There's one right behind you. He, requested a backside kick, sir.
Making you into a seaman, are they?
They're trying to whiten his ship's deck with a stone, and running fool's errand for the forecastle is making me into a seaman.
All right, then you want nothing to do with it. The sooner we get you home, the better, then, eh?
I didn't say that.
Get up on the yardarm, first ship that you see sailing home. Call out. I'll do my best to get you onto it.
That's not fair.
Get aloft.
There's a strong wind getting up, sir.
I'm aware of the weather, Captain Baines, but if the lad hasn't got the stomach to go aloft, if he thinks he only has to stow away to be a seaman...
He's never been up there before, to my knowledge, sir. If he should fall...
See that he stays there, bosun, until the master orders him down. And that'll be when I say so, Captain Baines.
When he comes of age, it's going to be O'Needin and Son. He knows that. Everybody knows it. That's why I'm made to look such a...
Well, he certainly hasn't joined any Fraser steamer. Only one is left in the last few days. He's not on that.
You are sure?
I called at Falmouth this morning. I telegraphed.
Then what other ships have left?
Just the Charlotte Rhodes.
It's time he came down, sir. die of exposure up there.
He wants to be a seaman. He'll have to get used to the cold. See any ships?
No, sir.
Homeward bound on the starboard side?
No, sir.
I did. An hour ago. A seaman who can't even be relied upon to keep a lookout.
I must have had something in my eye at the time, sir.
Oh, like Nelson.
Sir, if you don't think the comparison too conceited.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Right, we'll be calling in on Lisbon.
Uncle James!
I have to telegraph your father.
Has to be told, lad. You know that.
Well, as long as I don't have to go home.
Don't want to yet.
I told you, sir.
Well, a lot can happen between here and Lisbon to make you change your mind. I hope it does, for your sake. All right, Baines, get him some food. See that he gets some sleep.
Aye, aye, sir.
If you're looking for that letter you were going to post the other day, it's where you left it. Not that you'd know where that is. Here.
Thank you. News about Samuel, put it clean out of my head.
I'll post it myself if you like. I'm going out in a minute.
No, it's not what you think it is, Charlotte.
I'm sure I don't know what you mean.
Don't you play the madam with me, young lady.
And don't you talk to me as if I'm still a child.
I will talk to you just as I please.
Sir Charles won't like you taking that tone in his house.
Oh, stop it. Now, you're still not too old for me to slap, Charlotte. There, read it for yourself. It's got nothing to do with the position he offered me as a governess. I only wish it were that simple. Now, that's my reply to a letter he sent me the other day, the one you found in my work basket.
He's given you money?
£500. Intended as a marriage settlement. Well, when I told him I wasn't getting married after all, he insists the money is for me anyway. Held in a Liverpool bank for me to draw on whenever I please.
So you're telling him to take it back?
Well, of course I am.
Well, what if he doesn't?
Well, then I suppose the money will stay there, gathering interest in my name forever and ever.
Well, why did he give it in the first place? Marriage settlement? Is that like a dowry?
Oh, quite the reverse. It was to give me financial independence, he says, so that even after I marry him, your father knows I won't have to rely on him for protection.
Why shouldn't you rely on him? Do you have to be so proud?
Yes, I do, Charlotte. Because it's a proud man I love. Your mother would have understood that. From what I've heard about her, she also felt the need to show she was an equal.
Well, why not accept the money, then?
Oh, I couldn't do that.
If that's all you need to give you the courage to marry father, why not?
What, accepting what amounts to a small fortune from someone who is, after all, just a stranger? Huh. What would your father think?
Does it matter what he thinks? He's only your employer.
What are you two doing? Playing cat's cradle? Look over there. Are you going to be shamed by a young boy just out of an office?
Dinner's ready, bosun.
No one has grub yet. One needn't come here.
Come on, lad, jump to it.
That sheet on the foreyard's come adrift. I want it made fast, and you back on deck before I count to 20. Go on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Away and get some food inside you while you get the chance. Did I say you, Hoskins? I want you to go aloft and make sure the boy's done a proper seaman-like job. Go on. 1, 2, 3.
Not found your sea legs yet, Sam?
$28. And you didn't even have to tie it. Bit out of breath, eh? Getting past it? Well, I hope when you draw your discharge certificate, the master doesn't find it necessary to write decline to report.
Bosun's blue-eyed boy, eh?
He's not a no.
Well, what?
You do things slow on board, lad, or you set a rate that just makes trouble for us all. Now, do you understand?
That's my chest you got your backside on. That's not yours either.
I haven't got one.
Well, stand. Who says you can breathe, eh? Air's foul enough down here as it is without the owner's nephew gobbling up what he can of it.
I have to breathe.
Do you?
He's taking up the deck now, Bill. Nowhere to tread except on him.
Pretend he's not there. Oh, showing your strength, eh? After 17 years living on the fat of the land with the gentry, you've some to spare. Tough little blighter, isn't he? Maybe if I'd had his advantage...
Bill, not in the face!
Hey,
don't mark him. He's the owner's nephew.
No! Leave him alone!
You too. Get on deck.
And you, O'Hara.
Yeah, we've all been through it.
Have they?
Of course.
Good. I'll think of that.
Why do you think they took it out on you?
You do it slow on deck, the bosun chases you. Do it fast and they have you.
Rather be at home.
I wouldn't mind.
Well, with any luck, we'll be in Lisbon soon after dawn. Should give you enough time to get yourself a berth on the Princess Alexandra.
But I've no money.
Oh, well, our Lisbon agent will see to that. Your father can pay me back later.
All you said you'd do was telegraph.
Aye. This is the message. Samuel stowed away, returning him on next Fraser steamer, ex-Lisbon.
No, sir.
Now, look.
You send it.
But Uncle
You have
James...
two alternatives. Either you send this as soon as we tie up, that gives you enough time to get on that steamer, or you send it after she sails. Oh, if you do decide to let her go, come back on board with us. All the more fool you. We don't stop now until South America.
That the Fraser steamer?
Aye, on her way.
With that lad on board or not, I wonder?
If there's any sense.
He'd not be the first clerk to run away to see O'Hara.
But when you think of his prospects at home...
You think he's got none as a seaman?
No one has prospects as a seaman.
Not even James Needing's nephew?
I sent that cable, sir. Returning next Fraser steamer ex-Lisbon, which doesn't leave for another 6 weeks.
Captain Baines is master of the ship. Perhaps in future you see to it that my nephew is taught proper seamanship.
Oh, William, I didn't expect to find you here.
Well, I was just passing. I thought I'd call.
Oh, nice. Is Mrs. Gibson about?
It's her day off.
Oh, yes. William, I've got an old kitchen range in the stables outside. I want to put it out for the scrap merchant. I wonder, would you give me a hand to shift it?
Yes, of course.
Well, he's come to see me, not
well,
to
it won't
work.
take long. If you'd be so kind, William. Charlotte, why don't you put the kettle on, then we can all have a nice, cosy cup of tea by the fire. Thank you.
He goes there nearly every day.
To see his cousin.
She's not just his cousin. She's quite a prepossessing young woman now.
You think that William and Charlotte?
Well, I think you should find him more employment in the yard, Daniel.
William's only interested in his engineering fancies.
Well, then show him more encouragement so he won't go elsewhere for consolation.
And William has to take over the company in 4 years' time. We don't want to encourage him to go the way of Albert, do we? You know, if you were to tell him who his father really was...
Why should I?
The sea is in my blood. It should be in his. The sea, not engines. The boy should be told.
No.
Why not? He has a right to know his true parentage. And I have a right to hear my son call me father.
But have I no rights? If he were to be told the truth, what would that make me in his eyes?
He's nearly a man. He'd understand.
Oh, yes. The way other grown men understand, the way Albert understood.
Albert was a fool. Elizabeth, I've traveled halfway across the world.
See your son? No, Daniel, spare me the penny romance. You came here when you knew Emma was dying and you thought you could gain control of Fraser.
I had no idea she was dying until I arrived in Liverpool.
Honesty between us could heal many wounds.
There you are, Master William. Exactly to your specification.
Thank you. And in Lloyd's tested steel.
Luckily you didn't want any more of it. It's hard to come by.
You're keeping a record of all I owe you, aren't you?
Clark's got it all chalked up.
William.
Oh, hello,
what
Uncle Robert.
sight of you coming in here? I was on my way to call on you.
Let me know if it needs any modification.
Yes, thank you.
Well, your aunt and I would like it very much if you could take tea with us.
Me, sir? Why?
Well, we thought that you and Samuel, being of an age like, that, well, he might have confided in you as a friend in a way that for some reason or other he wouldn't with us.
Well, I'd like to very much, thank you, Uncle.
Good.
But I am rather busy at the moment.
Oh.
Besides, I'm sure there's nothing I can tell you about Sam you don't really know yourself.
I see.
Well, what are you doing in the stores, William?
Just making some purchases.
Good morning, Robert.
Good morning, Daniel.
Just a minute, William. What's that you got there?
Nothing you'd understand, Mr. Fogarty.
This is no time to go slow now, Sam! I wasn't! It's a gallant job, too! I'll go! Get him down, Bolton! Come on, son! Come on, leave it to Hoskins! We're not playing things valuable! Put your back into it there! I'm taking on more than we're shifting! Blows itself out. Doesn't blow itself out by this evening, you know where we'll be by then. Aye. Pompey. Then I hope your information is correct, and they give us a welcome because there's nothing else for it. That's where we're gonna have to call.
Well, this is an unexpected pleasure. Would you like some chocolate or tea? I could ring for Mrs. Gibson.
I understand William is here.
Yes, he comes here most days. We've grown very fond of him.
Charlotte, too?
Yes, I'm afraid so, especially Charlotte.
Letty, in James's absence, you have responsibilities that extend beyond the mere tutorial. Is William with Charlotte now?
Yes, I think he is, but I don't think he'd want to be disturbed.
Indeed.
Shall I go and see?
I think under the circumstances you had better.
Oh, hello, Aunt Elizabeth.
Charlotte, have you been with William?
Yes. Come along, Elizabeth. Let me show you the true object of your son's affections.
You don't have to go in, sir. Now that we've caulked the seams, we'll be all right for Montevideo if we can get enough wind to send us there.
There's my old house on the headland. I wonder who's living in her now.
Colonel Vega, or his successor, who, for all you know, Mr. Eden might be just as unfriendly.
You know, with so little wind, we'll not be far past the harbour mouth by nightfall. And when it gets dark, we'll tack back all lower the boat. The servants up in the house, they'll know what's happened. I think they'll still be friendly.
Ship on the starboard bow, sir. Harbour tug, coming straight at us.
Well, you won't have to go ashore now, sir, to see if you're welcome. We'll know as soon as that reaches us. Passenger? Me? It's not going to be Colonel Vega on that tug, and no one else is likely to know your face, so we mustn't tell them your real name.
Well, you could be held by them too, you know, Baines.
This time it'll be up to you to get me out of jail.
Excuse me, sir. They're coming alongside now. They want to come on board, sir.
Right you are. My information is right. The Colonel really has been overthrown.
No, we can't risk it, sir. Then what should we say your name is? We'd better tell the same story.
Gaunt. Mr. Gaunt.
Where are you bound?
Montevideo.
You are, of course.
Well, it's blowing a gale out there. We want to anchor till it moderates.
Is Mr. Onedin on board?
Why should he be?
The President would like to have received him, since you are in our waters.
Well, who is President now?
Now?
We understood there have been some changes lately.
The changes you mentioned were very short-lived. Is that why you are sailing so close to our shores? To find out?
Well, who heads your government?
Colonel Vega is both. Prime Minister and President.
Colonel Vega, President?
And in the absence of Mr. Onedin, he would very much like to see you.
Captain Baines?
James Onedin, I believe.
What makes you think that?
Colonel Vega has given a very vivid description of you, sir.
Nothing stupid now. If I'm not back in 12 hours, you weigh anchor. Sail on to Montevideo.
First Samuel, now you. James gets hold of both of you.
Uncle James?
Well, Samuel runs away to sea to work for him, and you start to build him a steam engine.
I'm not building it for him, sir. Anyway, you didn't offer me anywhere.
Well, I am now. Come in. You can have a workshop and all the facilities you need at Fraser's.
You sent for me, Mr. Fogarty?
Yes. All those machine parts you've been making in company time for my... William here. I want them collected from James and Eden's stables and taken to Fraser's where they belong.
You have no right to do that, Mr. Fogarty. They don't belong to Fraser's, they belong to me.
You are Fraser's. In a few years, the company will be yours under your grandfather's will. And if by then we can be building steamships with triple expansion engines...
We?
I speak as a shareholder in a company that's invested a good deal of money in your work and expects to see some return for it.
The company's invested nothing. Didn't I ask you to keep an exact record of everything I owe? I'll build this engine on my own. It's for me to decide what to do with it, not any company. It's the same with Samuel, sir. We just want to make our own way in the world, as you did once, and Uncle James, and Uncle Robert.
But expecting us to finance you until you can. How much does he owe the company already, Cleckley?
Well, up to yesterday, it came to about £200.
£200?
Where are you going to get that, if not from Fraser's?
But, sir, today he owes us nothing. All the outstanding bills have been paid. This afternoon in cash.
So you kept Sir Charles Helsby's money, then?
Well, you thought it was all right, too.
But I never dreamed you'd invest in William's engine.
I was simply paying for all the materials. I mean, it may not come to anything, but if it does, Charlotte...
Oh, Papa will be pleased.
Your papa will have nothing to do with it. I'm not investing in William for your father's sake.
For whom, then?
For William. So that he can run his own life. Well, and possibly for myself. When your father comes home and finds I've got a triple expansion engine in his old stables, and that it might turn out to be profitable one day, well, he wouldn't keep me waiting at the church after that now, would he?
So, having taken my bearings from these two landmarks here and found out where they cross, then that must be my position. Captain Baines, you haven't been listening. 12 hours, he said.
There's 10 minutes to go. He's not coming. They've collared him.
Shall I go and have another look?
Yeah, you go. Mr. O'Neill, you come aboard mighty quiet.
Master Samuel, tell the bosun to up anchor.
Aye, aye, sir.
What the devil happened?
Well, now, we had quite an interesting talk.
Mr. O'Neill, if you're planning to keep me on tenterhooks...
I think we should break out a bottle.
That's a step in the right direction. Good news, is it?
Very good news. Gave me great satisfaction to learn that since the Aeneid Company lost all its assets, no British shipper has dared use this port again.
I dare say, after what happened to us.
So it's little wonder that Colonel Viga's government got into difficulties. Anyway, he wants us to come back.
Devil he does.
Oh, I in the hope that if we, of all people, use this port, all the others will follow suit.
Why should we? We don't need the trade. Or is he giving everything back?
Oh, no. The one thing that's keeping him in power now is the fact that he kicked out all the foreigners. That's why he doesn't want anybody to know what it is that he's paying us back.
Huh?
Financial compensation. Cash.
How much?
Well, I think I drove quite a hard bargain, but we'll settle that when we call in here again on the way home. Right then. Let's sail. Got a cargo to deliver.
How can he reimburse the company for what you lost without anyone knowing?
He's not going to reimburse the company. Now, that's the point.
Just you. So your luck's turned again, Mr. O'Neill.
No storm lasts forever. You should know that, Baines.